There's such a background. Yeah.
Yes.
It was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just cleaning my car, I'm talking, sorry.
No.
But yeah, I thought you did a
Yeah,
really good
man.
job with that story.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I got a bad board in the back of my camera from Channel One coming out the back.
Oh, they did, wow.
They said they were gonna send it back to Channel Five, but it'll take 5 months to get it back. I ain't gonna wait 5
Crazy
months
thing
for my
is that
camera.
it was just one moment.
I just work around.
She got sick from that fact. And I had been to,
I was good, okay.
we
All right.
were
Thank you,
at
Brian.
just prior to the real lockdown and everything, we were at
They have those boards.
St. Patty's Day, big St. Patrick's Day party.
Amazon brought me over there.
But I haven't seen you since, maybe I have, but I
Yeah,
don't
it was
like
like,
job.
it'll take 5 months to get it back.
And I know Joe was real happy to do.
I don't know, it's inside the
Obviously not
camera.
the whole
It
story.
operates the Channel One coming out the back of the camera. Channel One. Channel Two is fine, but it's the Channel One that's bad.
So I'm signed up on his list.
Pain in the
So
butt.
Okay, good.
he sends like the quick stories, I think is
Yeah.
what he sends out. And we ended up doing
2 more days, okay?
And then I'm on vacation.
Oh, damn!
So
Yeah.
Are you gonna stay here in town?
Oh, yeah, I'm staying here now.
Yeah.
Next week is my wedding anniversary, so my wife.
What, 40, 60?
Shit, I got married at 19.
You forget, don't tell me you forget.
Well, the way he speaks to you, you know, he's
96?
clearly a professional. Yeah.
96?
that's a
That's exactly right, and that's why he does that job, right? Like, he's the kind of guy, you know, that you can see.
Oh, man, you have records.
37 years.
Yeah, the first marriage, the first time I was married, 8 years, 9 months, 13 days, 6 hours.
You never forget.
I put it away.
Then I was
But
sick.
so, yeah, and,
Yeah,
I remember
I wasn't getting married again.
we can't say our son's been trying to smoke together, 25,
You know?
when my son was playing football.
25 years, 4 boys. I had one son,
He's getting, he didn't have, but he's getting, like, he's lost
5 boys.
small boys.
All boys.
I think he shared, so he shared with me.
Got 4 in college.
He shared with me,
Well, one just graduated, so
Yes.
4 in college.
I have 2 in college. I have only 2.
Yeah.
I just wonder, you know, now that it's been almost.
But what's up, man?
So I think he's just getting, creeping in. Yeah, but
I can give you my
family base.
Do you have it in the phone?
With all of his brothers and sisters, you know. I know they're, it's gonna go covered as far as like.
If you have a problem with the computer, you log it in and you
No, JR, when they re-image it, they try to take it out. And then the law says for JR, his law.
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah.
The last 2 to 3 days,
I know
nothing
he's
I
from
took.
Nigeria. Somebody's from there.
Then I called Nancy, Nancy goes,
He must have owned the number at some point.
I
Because I
gotta
think they all went
I'll find someone who can help me.
But one day, I think I might actually answer and be like, yeah, this is
He's
Darryl.
gonna help.
So these are legitimate phone
But you
calls.
just log in.
Yeah, just the right number, yeah.
Password.
Okay, oh, yeah,
Or
yeah.
not with your name.
Right.
Yeah, I just responded.
What you don't change it? What you don't change it? Oh, I didn't know he's coming or what?
No.
We ready?
No.
Oh, need your report.
Right, I got me by the head or whatever.
You got my report.
Okay, then the next.
I'll be careful, these head was sweaty.
Oh, I'm good. I'm so sorry. I was just like, earlier. I totally knew about
They are what? Are they almost done or?
Well,
One is done.
One is done, he just graduated in April.
People just
or
don't
May.
behave.
He was a nursing
They wouldn't
major.
have a job. It's true. That's what I
Hey, you wanna sit here? I can slide this camera back a little bit, give you enough room.
Started second.
That's the place you can go.
One second.
Right. And then I got one, he's around 50 years.
Yeah, truly. Yeah.
65.
We would be like, yes, we were
Graduated
people
in
in that.
December. And then my twin, they just started their 3-year college.
But yeah, otherwise, you guys been having an
Then I
open summer?
retired.
Yeah.
After
Get
they
to do
finished that.
anything or it's mostly.
That's normally all the parents they do.
I've got 44 years.
Hey, what's it?
Series.
44 years.
I don't know, hey,
I have a lot of years in this business, but you know, but I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I got
I was
We're at the same station.
yeah, I was on Latin America,
So
Mexico,
it's kind of like the, like,
Washington. I was working with CBS.
I think
Then
that.
I was in Fox.
I don't know if like the
When I'm back, but I have only 20 years between Columbus.
20 years.
Yeah, that's all I have. But I want to go back to Washington. That's what I
Do you?
just being able to like get together for
Good afternoon, folks. If you would, give me a second to turn my radios off here. All right. Okay. Just let me know when you're all ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chief Stephen Flores, Flores, with the St. John, Indiana Police Department. Thank you all for coming today. I'm sure there's a lot of questions and what people are wondering and looking for answers as to what transpired today. There is a lot of information that's still coming in. I'm sure there's going to be some questions that you're going to ask that I can't answer at this time. But I do promise that once we get all this information and we have it available to us, we will release it as soon as possible. Okay? So I know you're going to have those questions, and again, some of them I'm not going to be able to answer, I'm sure. What I can tell is early this morning, it was just before 10 a.m. approximately, we received a dispatch of an active shooter at Lake Central High School located at 8400 Whitver Avenue in St. John. Being that it was dispatched as an active shooter, that's how the St. John Police Department, along with several other agencies throughout Lake County and Illinois, responded as an active shooter. That's why we had the response that we had. Upon arrival, several officers were there already. Our school SRO, we had a full-time SRO in the school. He quickly determined upon arrival that there was no shots fired, that there was no gun, and he located the two individual students that were involved almost immediately. So he brought them back, or he spoke to those, they brought him down to the office, spoke to those two students right away, and determined that while they were in the bathroom, the one student heard a noise of what he thought was somebody racking a gun, as he explained it. So we checked the entire bathroom, checked the entire school, high and low, into ceilings, and so on and so forth, and never located a gun. The student just said he heard that, and that's what he reported to our Lake County 911 dispatch center, and they dispatched it as an active shooter, which was not the case. So our response was tremendous. We had agencies, again, throughout the entire county, all the way from East Chicago down to Cedar Lake into Illinois. The federal government, the ATF, FBI, were all there and assisted with today's situation. So at this time, again, we spoke to the two individuals that were involved, the student that made the report, and the other student that he was with, and again, it was determined that there was no gun was located. We spoke to him, the parents, the students, we checked the student's card, there was nothing to indicate otherwise. So once the school was safe, obviously we still wanted to double check it to make sure that we didn't miss anything, that nothing was found, or they ditched a gun somewhere. So obviously we had to go through room by room just to make sure to check, to make sure we didn't miss anything. So once we had the assistance from the Northwest Regional SWAT team and the Lake County Sheriff's Department SWAT team, along with several officers, we teamed them up and methodically searched that building floor by floor, room by room. Once that process was over, we started, which ended up being towards the end of the school day at dismissal, which the timing was right. So we just started getting school buses in and releasing kids, by bus riders, by car riders, and people and parents that were there to pick them up. I know there was a lot of parents that arrived on scene and had a lot of questions for us. We did the best we can to inform them. I'm here with Dr. Veraco from the Lake Central School Corporation, the superintendent. He was putting out messages throughout the day, if I'm not mistaken, informing them of what was going on. And immediately we told them that everybody was safe. Our public information officer also was pushing out information. And the parents that were there, we were trying to get them to one location at Fagan Funeral Home. So that way we had officers there and school administration there as well too, just letting them know everything's fine. this is the process it's gonna be, so it's gonna take some time, and we did the best we can to inform them. So, end of the day, it turned out fine, everybody was safe, we got everybody out. We're, like I said, we're still in the process of gathering information, if there's any other students that heard anything, seen anything, or if other students talk to other students about, information that they may know. So we're still gathering it as we speak. Again, as soon as we have the full information, the investigation's near completion, we'll definitely get that out to you. So, if nothing else, again, I'll take a couple questions. I'll do the best I can to answer them for you, if there's any.
Just to go back with that initial call, so how many students were involved? There was one student who reported a noise. It sounded like the gun was being loaded, or?
Correct. There was 3 students that were in the bathroom.
Okay.
And the one student, as they were sitting there talking to each other, they were sitting in the stalls. So as they're in the bathroom, the one student thought he heard a noise. The other one had earbuds in his ear. So the one student thought he heard what he explained is like a gun being racked, like somebody was chambering a bullet into a gun. So he asked the other student, he said, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "No, he didn't." So and then once he made the 911 call to our dispatch center, they dispatched it as an active shooter.
Were they friends?
That I don't know if I'm not sure if they're friends or not.
Just happened to be in the stall together, all 3 of them?
I believe so, correct.
In the bathroom or in the stall?
In the stall. No, they were in different stalls.
Okay.
So 3 different stalls that they were in the bathroom,
Thank you.
talking to each other between the walls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chief, talk a little bit about the training you do for this and how that came into play today, and the fact that there was such a big response on something that seems a little thin initially, it just kind of sign of the times, right?
Yeah, you're right, it is, and we train quite frequently on this with our school corporations and our school SROs. We have 5 school SROs in the Tri-Town area. We have 2 from St. John, 2 from Dyer, 1 from Sherrill, and we do active shooter drills all the time, at least once a year at some of the schools. So a lot of the training that we have been doing over the last several years, it helped out quite a bit today. So obviously there's some things that we could work on, and it fortunately, it truly, it was a good, ended peacefully, nothing happened, but a lot of our training did kick in.
Can you attribute the response or things that have been happening? Last night there was a school board meeting where things got kind of out of hand because of this mask issue, and it's been an issue. Could that be a reason why you guys are on a little bit high alert?
Well, we have no indication at all to say that those 2 incidents are related at all. To be honest with you, whether there's any kind of issues going on with the mask mandate or not, we're going to respond that way. That being that there's a mask mandate, it has nothing to do with it. The safety of our students and the staff in that school and our civilians here in St. John is paramount, and the Tri-Town area, because that school serves all 3 towns. So to us, that's not even an issue for us. We're going to respond like that. If we get dispatched to an active shooter, we're thinking on the way there that there are shots being fired, people are getting shot. You're going to get that response no matter what. Sir?
Yeah, I thought I saw somewhere that there was some report of 2 being taken into custody. Were that referencing those kids, and they're obviously not the ones they were obviously not taken, they were just questioned in the office then?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And just to clarify a little bit further on the student that made the call, he was the one that heard the noise, correct?
That's correct.
Did he say he heard a gun being loaded? What exactly did he say to the dispatcher?
I haven't read the transcript, but I spoke to our sheriff. He was able to pull those tapes today, and him and I just spoke on the phone just prior to coming here. And don't quote me on this, but it was something along the lines that he heard what he thought was like a gun being chambered. So what that means to him, I'm not sure.
And just to confirm, there's no one in custody, no one's facing any charges related to this incident?
Not at this time, no.
Is this something, I'm sorry.
I'll get you next.
Have surveillance images or footage been collected from within the school, and have they showed anything to the authorities? And what would be the next proceeding steps of the investigation?
Yes, we did review the video almost immediately. It did determine that anyone, the two students were the only two that were in the area, so it wasn't anybody like walking by or, so I'm not sure exactly what it was that he heard. I don't know if it was the third student that was in there when he was walking out, he bumped into something, or he said he washed his hands and used the towel dispenser, and then he walked out of there. So I don't know if maybe the kid heard something or that he wasn't sure what it was, but yes, there was video available, and we did determine that the three that we spoke to were the kids that were in the bathroom. Yes,
Just
sir.
wanted to make sure that the student, he contacted 911 before contacting anybody else?
I believe so, correct.
And is that how it's supposed to happen? Is this kid under any kind of disciplinary or for false reporting? Or is this how it's supposed to work and you want students to do that?
Yeah, if they believe that there's some kind of suspicious incident like that, and they hear something, I'd rather have that, well, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I wish it would have been dispatched a little bit different. Because again, we were all going there thinking that people were getting shot, and that wasn't the case. But absolutely, if kids see something wrong, they need to report it, whether it's to us or the school administration immediately. Yes, sir.
So you said that there were the three of them. Did one of them end up saying that, was one of them, one of those students the one that they were believed, that was believed to have been loading something, and that did that student say something to the extent of, no, this is what actually was happening, or this is what that noise was?
If I understand your question correctly, no, the kid just, the one that heard it.
I'm talking about the one that if the three of them were in there, the one that, not the kid that heard it, the kid that he thought was doing something.
Oh, yes, he had no clue what was going on. So when we spoke to him, he's like, no, this is what I did, and I'm not sure what I would have done to make that noise, but and then he exited the bathroom. So I think when we pulled him in and talked to him, he was kind of shocked a little bit as to what was happening. Yes, ma'am.
Can you clarify, is that standard procedure for the dispatch call to go out like that, or are there conversations with the county to make sure that, we're very glad that nothing happened, but you also don't want parents sitting there worried that something's happening with school?
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I that's a conversation that we probably need to address and speak to the dispatch center about. But yeah, I would agree with your statement, because again, I'm a parent too, so if my kid was in that school, I'd be worried, because who knows what kind of information was being shared out there and what was being put out there. That's why we were trying to stay ahead of the game as much as we could to put the most accurate information out there before people were putting rumors out there. Any other questions?
Superintendent, care to say anything?
Well, sure, I would just like to say, I would like to say that after today's response, I have a much deeper admiration for the ability of law enforcement and public safety officials to come to the aid of a school like ours when there was a perception of potential problem. So that was, gives us a lot of confidence in the ability of our local people, our SROs, to mobilize other folks to help if it had been a true serious safety threat.
How's this going to impact curriculum or school activities or anything going forward?
Well, we're going to have to share some information with our folks, what happened, so that we can have confidence coming back to school. We did cancel all after-school activities for today to let the dust clear, but we'll be, sharing more information with our parents as we're able. We're just thankful no one was hurt. We're really happy with the way it turned out. Yes, ma'am.
Larry, can you clarify, does this change anything, I guess, in security procedures at Lake Central? Or I guess, what did you learn today, and does this change anything in how you handle?
Well, it's probably a little early to, really do that, to come up with that summary. But as I said, what we're really happy with is the strong response. When the initial call went out, we all thought it was real. We thought shots had been fired, and we had a strong turnout and great response, and for that we're eternally grateful.
How many students are at that school again?
About 3,200.
And is there going to be an investigation that the school is internally conducting along with the police investigation?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you know if the school board's still meeting tonight virtually?
The board is not meeting.
You could maybe just talk a little bit about the climate in this country right now, that something like this could trigger this sort of response.
Well, I think what triggers this response is that it's happening across the country, not just in schools, but at concert venues and movie theaters and other things. And so there is always a chance that someone hears something and it sounds familiar and it ends up being perhaps an overreach. But as Chief said earlier, better safe than sorry. We appreciate our kids who have the courage to report something if they think something bad is really about to happen.
And to kind
Sir,
of
can you say your name and spell it, please, and your title?
Sure. Larry Veracco, Superintendent, Lake Central School Corp., VERACCO.
And to answer one of the questions, with situations like this, we always do a debriefing to go over things that we did, what transpired, what could go better next time in case, if something like this were to happen again. And we involve the schools in that as well too. We work, closely with them. So our goal is to get better all the time. So, and if we can do that and provide even a safer environment for our students and staff, that's what we're going to do.
I have a question for Albert. How many school cops are stationed at the high school right now?
Just the one.
Just the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one full-time, we have one who fills in rows across the whole district, and then we have 3 others that serve each a middle school and their 2 feeder elementary schools.
Were the other schools, like the middle schools and the elementary schools, also secured in some way before?
Yeah, they were put on a lockout for the bulk of the time of the searching the building and so forth. And that was removed shortly before we released our students.
Chief, and there was no indication of where this noise could have come from, either on a kid's cell phone or nothing?
Nothing.
And on your end, would you consider the investigation ongoing? And if so, what would be the next steps, or is it concluded?
We just want to make sure, that we reached out to any kids that may have information. That may come up, tomorrow or something. But right now, the 3 students, obviously, like I said, we already spoke to them. I'm sure there's going to be some coming forward, in the next day or so. Or if there's any staff members that were in the area, we want to reach out to them. But as of right now, like I said, it seems most of it is complete, but there is still more information coming in. All right, thank you, folks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.